Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at, well, two concepts that really go hand in hand.
Okay.
Perseverance and sacrifice. We've got some seriously inspiring stuff to unpack here, so
It is good.
let's jump right in. One of the excerpts we're looking at today, it describes perseverance as, quote, the fire that keeps your dreams alive when the world tries to dim them, end quote. I mean, how powerful is that imagery?
It really is.
It makes me think about all those times when you're working towards something. You know, you hit a roadblock, you face rejection.
Right.
It's perseverance that keeps you going.
Absolutely. It's that inner drive, that refusal to give up.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting? To me, it's not just about, like, willpower or forcing yourself to keep going. It's about shifting your mindset.
Yeah.
You know, seeing those setbacks, not as failures, but as part of the journey.
I think that's key. It's like, you hear a lot about grit these days.
Right.
And that's really what it's all about, that ability to stay committed to your goals, even when things get tough.
Yeah, so it's like having that inner compass. That keeps you pointed in the right direction.
Exactly. No matter what storms you encounter along the way.
And the source even talks about turning those setbacks into stepping stones.
I love that. It's so true.
Like each challenge you overcome becomes part of your story.
It adds another chapter to your victory story.
Exactly. It's all part of the process. And that brings us to the idea of sacrifice, which I think is so closely tied to perseverance.
Absolutely.
The other excerpt we're discussing today, it describes sacrifice as the bridge between dreams and reality. What strikes me about that metaphor is that it acknowledges that achieving something great often means letting go of something else.
Right. You have to make choices. Prioritize what truly matters.
And the source even mentions this idea of quiet surrender.
Oh, that's interesting. Tell me more about that.
Like, it's not always about these big dramatic sacrifices. Sometimes it's the small everyday choices we make. Choosing to work on a project instead of watching TV or waking up early to exercise.
Right. Or maybe saying no to that extra social event so you can focus on your goals.
Exactly. And that could be tough, especially in a world that's so focused on instant gratification.
Yeah, we're constantly bombarded with messages telling us to indulge, to enjoy the moment.
Right. But this source frames sacrifice as an investment.
I like that. An investment in your future.
Not just deprivation. It's about putting in the work now for something bigger down the road.
Absolutely. And that reminds me of another powerful image from the source. It says, it's the seed planted in the soil of discipline, watered by persistence and nurtured by hope.
Wow, that's really beautiful.
It really captures the essence of sacrifice, doesn't it?
It does, because it highlights that the rewards might not be immediate, but with consistent effort and belief in yourself, those sacrifices can truly blossom.
Exactly. It's a long game, and it requires patience and faith.
So we've talked about perseverance, we've talked about sacrifice, but how do they actually work together?
Well, I think it's clear that they're two sides of the same coin.
In what way?
Think about it. Acts of sacrifice, they often require immense perseverance.
To see them through.
Yeah, to stay committed, even when you're tempted to give up.
It's like that athlete training for the Olympics, they're making sacrifices every single day.
Exactly. Pushing their bodies to the limit.
And that takes incredible perseverance.
Yeah.
To keep going when it gets tough.
And on the flip side, every time you persevere through a challenge, you're reinforcing your commitment.
To the sacrifices you've made.
It's a cycle that strengthens your resolve.
Okay, so let's bring this back to our listeners. How can they apply these concepts in their own lives?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And I think it starts with defining what great means to you.
Because the sources talk about sacrificing for something great.
But that greatness is subjective. It's personal.
So it's not about some external definition of success. It's about figuring out what truly matters to you.
Exactly. And then having the courage to make the sacrifices necessary.
To pursue that.
To align your actions with your values.
It's about identifying those dreams that are worth fighting for, the goals that make the sacrifices feel worthwhile.
And then cultivating that perseverance to overcome the inevitable obstacles.
So as we wrap up today, here's a final thought for you to ponder. We've talked about the importance of sacrifice, but how do we know which sacrifices are the right ones to make?
That's a good question. A tough question.
How do we balance our ambitions with our well-being and the needs of those around us?
It's a constant balancing act, and there's no easy answer.
That's something I really encourage you to reflect on as you continue your own journey.
And remember, greatness isn't a destination. It's a journey. It's about the growth, the lessons, the impact you make along the way.
Well said. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We hope you found this conversation as inspiring as we did. Until next time.